What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Paddock, and today we are going to talk about modes. What are modes? Modes are a family of scales that all have the same key signature and are all built off of the same major scale. For today's example, we're going to use the C major scale, which I'll write below. The easiest way to explain modes is that they are just plain scales starting on each degree of the major scale. So first you play a scale starting on the 1, then the 2, then the 3, and so on and so forth until you played all 7 notes in your major scale. So the first mode you already know is just playing from C to C in the key of C. Now, what makes these modes seem a little bit harder than they are is they have some weird names to them. So that scale we know as the major scale, but the modal name for that is called Ionian. So Ionian and major scale both mean the same thing. For the next mode, you just go up to the second degree of the major scale. In the case of C, we're going to go up to our D, and we're going to play from D to D in the key of C. The name of this mode is Dorian. And if you look at this mode, you can see that it's different from your regular D major scale because it has a flat third, which is your F natural, and a flat seventh, which is a C natural. Here are our first 2 modes played back to back. And that's it. Modes are just plain scales on top of each scale degree of the major scale. So let's continue. For the third mode, you start on the 3rd degree of the major scale. So in the case of C, the 3rd note is E. So we're going to play from E to E in the key of C. The 3rd mode is called Phrygian. And if you compare the E Phrygian scale with the E major scale, you'll see that it has a flat 2, a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7th. So played back to back, they sound like this. This is your Ionian, or your major scale. Then your Dorian, which starts on your 2, which in the case of C is D. And then your Phrygian, which starts on your 3, which in the case of C is E. For the 4th mode, you would obviously start on the 4th degree of the major scale. And in the key of C, that would be F. So we're going to play from F to F in the key of C. The 4th mode is called Lydian. And in the Lydian scale, if you compare the F Lydian scale to your F major scale, you'll see that you have a B natural instead of a B flat. So you have a raised 4th or a sharp 4. For the 5th degree, you start on the 5th note of the major scale. In the case of C, that would be G. So we're going to play from G to G in the key of C. The name of this mode is Mixolydian. And if you compare your G Mixolydian to your G major scale, you'll see that you have an F natural instead of an F sharp, which means you have a flat 7. The next mode starts on your 6th degree of your major scale, and in the key of C, that would be A. So we're going to play from A to A in the key of C. The name of that mode is Aeolian. And if you compare your A Aeolian scale to your A major scale, you'll see that you have a flat 3rd, a flat 6th, and a flat 7th. This mode has a second name that you might be familiar with. The Aeolian mode is also known as the natural minor scale. And the last mode starts on the 7th degree of the major scale. In the case of C, we would play from B to B in the key of C. The name of that mode is Locrian. If you compare your B Locrian scale to your B major scale, you'll see that you have a flat 2nd, a flat 3rd, a flat 5th, a flat 6th, and a flat 7th. So it's pretty much that simple. For modes, all you do is play scales on each degree of the major scale, and you stay in the same key of the original major scale. So now that you know what modes are, let's take a minute to talk about the more popular ones and give you some ideas on how to practice them and make them functional. Obviously, the most popular mode is the Ionian mode, which is also known as the major scale. And I'm guessing if you're watching a video on modes, you already know your major scales pretty well. But if not, before you move on to any of the other modes, make sure that you can play your major scale in all 12 keys. The second mode that you should work on after you get your major scales down is the Mixolydian mode. The Mixolydian mode starts on the 5th degree, and because it starts on the 5th degree, that gives you a flat 7. So it's just like a major scale, but with a flat 7. I'd recommend getting your Mixolydian scale down and all 12 keys really well before moving on to your next mode. So the first mode that you should have, obviously, is the Ionian, or the major scale. The second mode that you should work on is Mixolydian, which is just like a major scale, except it has a flat 7. The next one that we're going to work on is the Dorian mode, which is based on the 2nd degree of the major scale, and it has a flat 3rd and a flat 7th. Because the Dorian scale has a flat 3rd, it is in the minor family of scales. Pretty much any scale that has a flat 3rd is considered minor. And you'll often hear Dorian referred to as Dorian minor. So after getting your major scales and your Mixolydian scales down and all 12 keys, I would definitely recommend working on your Dorian minor scales and all 12 keys as well. The last mode that we're going to single out is the Aeolian mode, which is also known as natural minor, and it starts on your 6th degree of the major scale. And it has a flat 3rd, a flat 6th, and a flat 7th. So why are these 4 modes the most popular and the ones that you should learn first? The answer is pretty simple. When you start improvising off of lead sheets and chord charts, the chords that you're going to run into directly correlate with these modes. So when you see the chord, it is telling you which mode to play. If you haven't checked out my video on chords and chord symbols, I would definitely suggest checking that out right after this video, because these 2 videos are definitely related. So here are how your modes and your chords go together. When you see C major 7, that is telling you to improvise using your C major scale or your Ionian mode. If you see a C7, that is telling you to improvise using your C Mixolydian mode because that has the flat 7. If you see C minor 7, that is telling you to use your Dorian or your Aeolian mode because they have flat 3rds and flat 7ths, and that matches your C minor 7 chord. So knowing these 4 modes and their corresponding chord symbols will open up an entire world of basic improvisation for you, and that is the reason that learning modes is such an important part of your music theory. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. If you found it helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends.